Okay, hello Discovery. So this is the Peter Gregory. I will sometime tomorrow evening try to do the other one. But definitely before it's due on Wednesday. Let's get right into it. I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. So again, we're looking, so readers read through the verbs, right? So we're going to take a look. So it says microfinance consists. So consists is the first verb of offering services to the poor. Now this is interesting. I would say this one is an action as well. We'll get to that. Who often don't have, so do not have. This is a verb phrase. Access to the most basic financial products. Speaking low because it's like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not to wake people up. The money may be used, so may be used to buy. Right? Productive capital, such as a sewing machine or cooking equipment. So the participant can start. Can start is the verb phrase there. A micro business using is the verb phrase there. The profits to repay. To repay is the verb there. The loan and provide is a verb for their family. Its allure, lies is the verb there. In the fact that it is the verb. The state of being verb by itself, so we know what that means, right? It is being described by what comes afterwards. It's a hand up, not a hand out. Building on the skills. Building is a verb. On the skills, abilities, and knowledge the poor already possess. Okay. Actually, I would say this is a verb as well. We'll get to that. Its most powerful contribution to struggling communities is the verb there. The sense of worth it engenders. Engenders is the verb there among participants. Okay, so let's go back. So microfinance consists. So what consists? Microfinance consists. Now, microfinance, right? You're gonna make a note about this, is basically like a small loan, right? So not a large loan, but like a small loan, you know, so and if you're financing something, basically there's a difference between like loaning somebody something and financing somebody, right? So loaning somebody is like, okay, here's the money and you can use it any way you want to, right? Versus someone saying, you know what, I want to start my own, YouTube channel, but I need a camera. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll help finance you, right? So finance is usually, if you're financing something, you're usually helping someone start a business, right? So it's a loan, but it's like but it's a micro, so it's a small loan, right? All right, so microfinance consists, if something consists of something, it entails it, so microfinance can be defined as, right? Offering again, basically meaning you're giving, right? You're extending services to the poor who often don't have. So who doesn't have? So microfinance is the thing that is consisting, is the thing that's offering, right? Who often, so who's the who here, right? Let's deal with this. This is a pronoun, right? Who often don't have. So the who doesn't have, right? Actually, I would say, this is pretty basic. Like, sometimes it's not right next to it, but it says services to the poor who often don't have, right? So we know the antecedent for that, right, is poor, right? So when it says who often don't have, we know the antecedent for that is the poor. Access, to have access to something is, to like have the ability to use it, So if the door is locked, you don't have access to the other side of the door, right? To the most basic financial dealing with money, right? Especially like in a business type situation. Products. The money used to buy, money may be used to buy, right? So what may be used by? Subject to that is the money. Right? And this one was the poor. Right? They're saying the who here, it's the poor. Really, it's the subject of the don't have. May be used to buy productive capital, right? So, and then you're like, okay, what's productive capital? This is a good example of a conjunction that, so this is a good example of a conjunction that shows this relationship, right? So such as, right? So such as means I'm about to give you an example of productive capital. A sewing machine or cooking equipment, right? Again, sewing machine, cooking equipment. Okay, so now you're making a micro inference. Oh, okay. So microfinancing, again, is about getting a loan to start like a business. So, they're not just buying a sewing machine or cooking equipment to use just for recreation, right? They're buying a sewing machine and a cooking equipment. Why? Well, it's a microfinancing, right? So they must be using it to what? Start a business. And so that's what they mean by productive capital. Because when you start a business, what do? You produce things, right? And you produce things to make what? Capital. You produce things to make money. So productive capital, right? It's things that you use to produce so that you can make money. All right. So participant can start. So who starts? The participant. So the participant can start a micro business using, so who's using? Okay, in this particular case, we go right back to the participant. Can start a micro business using, right? Usually when you see a verb right here, right? So you see a verb there, you see a comma and then another verb, and there's no noun in there. There's not another noun after the comma, or there's no conjunction after the comma. Usually that's saying that the verb is going to go right back to that, that previous subject. Okay. So the participant can start a micro business. So the participant, now, is that the person who's giving the microfinance or the person who is receiving the microfinance? Well, so this is one of the things where you have to stop and make sure, check for understanding, basically. So who is the participant? Well, the participant is the one who is starting a micro business, right? So that would be the person who gives the money or receives the money, right? Receives the money. And so the participant was also what? Poor. So actually, I can put this, we can put this in red, because this person and that person, the same person. Okay. So the participant can start a micro business using the profits to repay the loan. So they're using the profits, right? So the profits is like the money that you're making, again, and that's net. So if you remember what we talked about especially when we were talking about taxes and things like that, there's a difference between net and gross, right? And your, so this would not be the gross, dealing with the overhead and everything like that, but this would be the net. So based off of the net profit, now they got to pay the other thing, or the part of their specific overhead is repaying the loan as well as providing for their family, right? Okay. All right. And this says its allure lies in the fact. Now, it's not lies as in to tell a lie, right? It lies as in contains. So we're going back to this idea of contained or is defined by. So its allure lies. Okay. And so the allure. So the allure is the attractive thing about something. So the attractive thing lies. Right? And the attractive thing about what? Right? So again, we have this pronoun, it's. What's allure? Microfinance is allure. Okay. Lies in the fact that it is, and again, it. What is it? All right. This it is the same it as that. And this is going back to this idea of microfinance. Right? Okay. So its allure lies in the fact that it is a hand up, not a hand out. Right? So think about that. So it's a hand, think about the preposition here. Right? So prepositions show direction. So if you're giving someone a handout, How is that different from giving somebody a hand up? Okay. Building on the skills. So again, same kind of description, same kind of construction as this. So its allure lies in the fact that it is a hand up, not a handout. Building on the skills. So, so it is building on the skills, right? So what is building on the skills? It is. What is it? Microfinance. Okay. Building on the skills, abilities, and knowledge that the poor already possess. Who possesses it? The poor. Right? They already have it. To possess something is to have. For example, a possessive pronoun. It's because of the fact that you have something that makes it a possessive pronoun. Right? So the poor already possess. Right? And who's the poor as well? The participant. So let's put this. So it's the person that's starting the business. Right? Now the person giving a hand, not the person giving the hand up. Right? But the person that is the participant, the person starting. So then it says the most powerful contribution to struggling communities is, right? So the contribution here is the subject, right? So its most powerful contribution. Again, what is its? Microfinance, right? Microfinance is the most powerful contribution to struggling communities, right? The preposition here is giving you what direction the contribution is going towards. Is the sense of self-worth, right? So most powerful contribution. So again, most powerful, describing the contribution, right? And I would say these two words are similar to each other in terms of its allure and its contribution. So keep that in mind as you're translating. Is the sense of self-worth it engenders. So again, it being a pronoun, right? So notice how many of these pronouns are going back to. You'll see this construction used a lot, especially, in informational material, where it's all these pronouns, these its, are going back to this main idea at the beginning of the paragraph. Okay, that's not always the case, but often you'll see that. So the sense of self-worth, it engenders or creates or grows, right? Engenders is to create or grow. Think about creating or growing a plant, or it engenders, it nurtures, among participants. Okay, and those participants being who, right? Those participants being who, right? Okay, all right. So when you get to this participant, you're not sitting there going, okay, what do they mean? Who are these participants? Well, think about it. We've seen, this is one of the reasons why you definitely always need to make sure that you're making these little microfinances. You're making these little micro inferences between the sentences. None of these sentences are, in isolation of each other, or an island in isolation of each other. Okay. All right. So, again, we're usually chunking this down into interpretation 1 and 2. And then again, we're usually doing a situation where you're connecting this to both labor and class, as well as, well, I would have to say this is dealing with globalization a little bit, or even like, let's say, an alternative to globalization. Unfortunately, you guys don't have your folders, because like I would actually have you guys pull out the one that relates to this. And then I'll say education as well. Okay. So keep that in mind. So let's go over to Google Classroom really quick. So this is the assignment. Okay. So, so I have three things in here. So there's going to be the Word doc, the Google Doc, and this lecture will be in here in about an hour. And so you're going to make sure that you're writing the actual thing in here, and all you do is take your cursor and put it there, right? You guys have edit capabilities, right? And so you put your cursor there and you start typing for the interpretation, and you put your cursor there and you start typing for the inference. I still see some people who are not copying and pasting this whole thing, you know, from the previous two assignments. When it comes to the paragraph, that'll be due on Thursday, since vacation has been canceled. So make sure you do that, because it's, again, much more simpler than, you know, what we were doing in class, where you had like, you know, a period to copy, you know, to copy all this stuff, as well as work on the inference for the paragraph. Okay. All right. So that gives us, we're at 22 minutes, which is good. Definitely coming in under, you know, the hour that it was taking me to do the first video. So you're learning, I'm learning, we're all adjusting. So I hope that you are happy and healthy. I hope your family is happy and healthy. Take care of each other, and I miss you guys.